Warhammer 40K is an impossibly big, complex web of stories with incredible imagery and themes, giving many video games a huge audience who know very little about the background and lore. Welcome to the Game Lore Archives, where I intend to break this down into something understandable and streamlined. And hey, leave a like if you learned something new. Humans live on the planet of Terra until the discovery of an alternative dimension of psychic energy known as the Warp led to a huge technological boom, leading to new weapons, machinery, and terraforming tools, and the ability to travel faster than light. This allows humans to establish its first empire across the stars. With the warp being used in most technology, its close proximity led to some humans developing psychic powers, becoming known as psykers. Eventually, this warp dimension spilled into real space, causing most psykers to go insane, and huge storms in the warp, cutting off all methods of communication, preventing faster-than-light travel, and making resource trading between planets impossible. Every world being cut off and separated leads to the darkest period in humanity's history, nearly leading to man's extinction. Planets suffer from starvation, riots, war. Some warp-surrounded planets lead to mutations of humans, leading to things like ogrins. There are very few surviving records of this time, but humanity would have been wiped out completely if not for the Emperor. The Emperor is one of, if not the, most powerful psyker ever, as well as being a perpetual, the name given to a human with a mutation to make them immortal and damn near unkillable. He'd watched the age of technology and strife and realised humanity needed guidance, so he used his own DNA to create an army of Thunder Warriors, incredibly strong, savage warriors who could survive tremendous amounts of damage. These warriors quickly led to the domination of Terra at the expense of many innocent lives. Due to their savagery, when the world was his, the Emperor killed the remaining Thunder Warriors, knowing their brutality would only bring future issues. The Emperor rebuilds Terra and forms the Imperial Truth, a religion and ideology based on science, reason, and respect at its core principles. He also works among the top scientists of Terra to perform the gene-altering methods used to create the Thunder Warriors, and creates his 20 sons, the Primarchs. Each Primarch is the pinnacle of humankind, larger, stronger, faster, and smarter than any normal could be. However, the Chaos Gods scatter the unborn Primarchs across space, a huge setback for the Emperor. But he adapted, using each of the lost Primarchs' DNA to create a gene seed, allowing him to transform humans into super soldiers known as Space Marines, with a different legion being created with each of the 20 gene seeds. Humans between the ages of 10 and 12 undergo 19 mutations to become a Space Marine. It's a lot to go through. I'll leave them up on the screen, pause it if you want to know about each stage. With an army of Space Marines at the ready, the Emperor needed equipment, so went to Mars to ally with the cult Mechanicus. These humans, known as tech priests, worship a machine god named the Omnissiah, relishing technological advancement above all else. To avoid a costly war, a treaty was made between the two planets. Mars would build and supply weapons, armour, tanks and starships for the Imperium, and were banned from researching any technology with full automation to prevent chaotic corruption. In turn, the tech priests were given the means to reconnect with the Forge worlds that had been lost since the Age of Strife, and granted political autonomy and religious freedom, being allowed to forgo the Imperial Truth and continue their worship of the Omnissiah. Ironically, many of the priests believe that the Emperor is the machine god, despite his own religion dispelling all gods. This treaty marks the official beginning of the Imperium of Man. The Emperor's Space Marine army, now equipped with the tech priest's equipment, quickly took over the Sol system and continued spreading the Imperial truth. As his crusade continues, the Emperor finds his lost Primarch sons and places them each in command of their biological legion, where together they establish the Imperium as the most prominent force in the galaxy, until one day he left his favourite son, Horus, in charge of the crusade and returned to Terra. He didn't tell anyone the reason for leaving the front lines, which planted the smallest seed of doubt in some people's minds, but it was just enough for the Chaos Gods to capitalise on, leading to the Horus Heresy. I'll discuss the events in more detail next episode, but the Horus Heresy decimated the Space Marine armies, 8 legions falling to chaos, 8 suffering heavy losses, and the history of 2 legions has been redacted from all records. The climax of this war saw the Emperor victorious but near death. His final act was to change an artifact named the Golden Throne into a life support machine that suspended the Emperor between life and death for 10,000 years at the cost of 1,000 psychers a day. Their sacrifices allow his mind to guide his armies through the warp safely and prevent a demon incursion across Terra. The Horus Heresy led to many changes to the Imperial armies. That leads us to the structure we see in the 40k universe in today's games, books and films. Each Space Marine Legion was split into chapters of 1,000 troops, so any corrupted chapters were localised and easier to defeat. A second force, named the Inquisition, was founded to hunt down and prevent chaotic corruption. The bulk of the Imperial armies come in the form of the Imperial Guard, or Astra Militarum, made up of billions, if not trillions, of humans recruited and at times conscripted across every Imperial-controlled planet. Each will be a part of a regiment who specialises in one area, which allows any threat to be met with a mixture of regiments to cover all weaknesses. The army has a strict chain of command, but with many different unit compilations and gear, including the use of some mutants that were created in the Age of Strife. One human alone may be weak, but together, with the equipment of the tech priests and support of the Space Marine chapters, the Imperium still holds the largest territory in the galaxy. Join me next time where I'll be discussing Chaos armies alongside a bit more information on the Warp and the Horus Heresy. Subscribe so you know when it comes out, or if you keep coming back to the channel, and I'll catch you then.